As if adulting wasn't already hard enough, you have to worry about your personal finances. Yes, on top of trying to become a doctor while still in undergrad, while trying to find a husband after being told that you can never have a boyfriend, and trying to have kids all at the same time, and still carrying all the expectations of your traditional immigrant families, worries on your back. Yeah, you still gotta be worried about your personal finances. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Urain, but I also go by Chimso. Here I talk about being young and becoming financially free. But if you're returning, hey guys, I hope you all are doing well in your journey to reclaiming your childhood and your freedom through financial literacy. Today I want to talk about the different areas of personal finance. Okay y'all, so I'm still in the sunroom. We're still here because it's not hot. So as long as it's not hot, I'll still be here. And also, you guys know I'm always wearing yellow. But let's continue. Personal finance, money, something that a lot of us are never taught about, never have conversations about because most people don't know about it. Now, on top of trying to be an adulting, trying to become independent and figure out your life, trying to find a relationship at the same time, trying to figure out how exactly you're gonna find a job and move out and then get furniture and then like buy a house and all that stuff, you gotta worry about your personal finances. Actually, because you have to worry about all of that stuff, you need to worry about your personal finances because ultimately it's gonna make all of those things a lot easier to accomplish. Okay, so there are 7 main areas of personal finance and 6 of them that you're gonna have to be worried about right now. Well, 5.5. So the areas are goals, income, budget, investments, insurance, retirement, and estate planning. So I'm just going to go into each one of them. I'm going to talk about the ones that you need to be worried about right now first, and then we're going to talk about the ones that you can worry about later after. All right, so the first one is goals. Like you guys know, I'm always plugging my videos. Honestly, a lot of the videos I make are very intertwined and interrelated to each other, which is why I'm always plugging them. But go ahead and watch this video on assessing your goals. But when it comes to personal finances, your goals will help you to determine which direction you're going to go in and how exactly you're going to use your money to achieve this goal. So let's say you're trying to buy a Jeep Wrangler. I think that's the car that everybody wants. So because that's your goal, instead of buying a used Toyota Camry, that's the car that I have, right? Your goal costs more money than an alternative goal. Therefore, in order to get that, you're going to need to plan based on the amount that's going to cost you. Let's say another goal would be whether you want to live in Kentucky or New York. Oh my god, I have the hiccups. Oh my god. As we all know, New York is expensive. I'm gonna try and keep my hiccups under control. I don't know where they came from, but as we all know, New York is very expensive to live in. And Kentucky, does anybody even live in Kentucky? Kentucky is a lot cheaper to live in than New York. So if your goal is to live in New York versus Kentucky, then planning your finances is going to be dependent on buying a house. Can you buy houses in New York? It's going to be dependent on buying an apartment, studio in New York, right? Your goals are very central to exactly what direction you're going to take and how exactly your finances are going to be used. So that's why I named it first. Second, I guess 2A, 2B, these two things kind of go together, but I'm going to talk about income and budget next. So your income is going to determine exactly how you're going to plan out your money in order to reach your goals, and this planning out is the budget. So if you have a certain income, you can only contribute certain amounts of money after you already paid all your bills and everything, right? But this is an important part of finance. Now, I should probably make another video about this, but it's very important to have multiple streams of income. As we saw last year, I'm just going to refer to it as the crash. As we saw last year during the crash, a lot of people lost their jobs. And even if they had multiple jobs, their working was their main source of income. So they lost all of their income and they had no money coming in order to sustain their lives. It's very important to have multiple streams of income, and it's very important to have passive income. So I think working income is perfectly fine because it's very stable, it's assuring, and it's almost guaranteed that you're gonna have it unless, you know, you get fired. But it's also important to have passive income, whether that is investments, you have a side hustle or a business that's working on itself, or you just pick up little jobs like, you know, go Instacart in, you do Uber. I know my friends do that as well. You do people's hair, do people's makeup, do people's nails. That's side hustles that you could do like whenever you're in need of money that could give you a little bit of income. So it's very important to have multiple streams of income. Okay, now I'm gonna go into the budget. So like I said, budget is planning out exactly how you're going to accomplish. Well, there's plans and then there's budget. Budget is the monetary plan of how you're going to achieve this goal. So your budget is going to be broken down into the rest of the categories I'm going to be talking about. So you got your bills, right? Maybe I'll add bills as one of the categories because I didn't say it earlier. So you got your bills, and then you got your expenses. You have your bills, you have your investments, you have your retirement, and you have insurance, which insurance kind of goes into bills. Wow, y'all, I missed a few categories. Okay, we're gonna rewind and add in a few categories. So initially I said goals, income, budget, investments, insurance, retirement, and estate, right? 7. Okay, so now we're gonna add in bills and debt. Wow. No wonder nobody talks about this. This is a lot. So back to your budget. Your budget is going to cover the rest of these categories basically. So like I said, your bills, your investments, your retirement, insurance, which kind of falls under bills, your debt, which kind of also falls under bills. So it just helps you to plan out your finances to achieve your goals. Now I made a budgeting video, not telling you how to budget. I can make a budgeting video telling you guys like different methods of budgeting, but I just talked about my experience with budgeting. I'm gonna be plugging a lot of videos here, guys. But if you don't have a budget, you need to get on one. Actually, if you don't have goals, you need to set financial goals right now. I don't care how old you are. You can be 10, you can be 20, you can be 40. Set your goals right now because it's never too late. It's never too early to start planning, and it's never too late to start planning. Now we're gonna get into bills and debt. I kind of completely forgot these categories, but your bills are the things that you have to pay for, right? Everybody got bills. You got phone bills, water bill, electricity, a mortgage, groceries, clothes. Technically a bill because you need to wear clothes, right? Now, there are fixed bills and then there are variable bills. And then discretionary and non-discretionary. The ones that are very important are fixed non-discretionary bills, or basically bills that you have to pay and there's a certain amount that has to be paid at a certain period of time. These are like your water bills, your mortgage, which falls under debt, your phone bill. Well, no, phone is kind of variable. Water, electricity, gas. Okay, honestly, those are variable, but you generally use the same amount every month. So you'll probably be paying about the same amount every month. The second most important category is the variable discretionary, or basically bills that you have to pay to live, but they're not the same amount. So this would be things like grocery, gas for your car, not like gas for your house, phone bills, clothing, kind of, sort of. So the best way to do these ones is to see exactly what you need, because there can be times when we go over, like we buy too much food, we buy too many snacks that we're not actually going to eat, or too many snacks that are not good for us, and we're spending more money than we should on these non-discretionary things. So you're telling yourself that you need these snacks because it's food, but you don't actually need these snacks. You need meat, you need carbs, you need vegetables, you need fruit, you need water, you need milk, and you need oil, and you're good. You don't need Cheez-Its, you don't need grape juice. You may think you need it, you don't need the wine. And then other things like gas. So like, while we do need gas to get places, how often are you going out and how far are you traveling to get to these places? These places that you're going, do you really need to be going there all the time? That's a way to determine how much you should be contributing to these ones. Now, I'm not gonna really go into the non-discretionary ones because these are things that you don't necessarily need that you're paying for, but I can definitely make another video just talking about bills and the knowledge that I have on them. Now we're gonna go into debt. Everybody's favorite thing. Everyone's. So if you're watching this video, you either have debt or you're going to have debt. It's kind of inevitable when you live in America and you go through the education system and you're trying to buy a home. So the main kinds of debt that people have are student loan, credit card, and a mortgage. Okay, so now there's bad debt and good debt. Okay, so the best way for me to explain this is that good debt is debt that can pay itself in the future, and bad debt is debt that can't pay itself. Good debt is debt for assets, and bad debt is debt for liabilities. So let's say that you ran out of money, but you want to go out with your friends and you use your credit card. You going out is not going to give you the money that you spent back. That is a liability that you're paying for. Or let's say that you want to buy a car, but you don't have all the cash, you need to buy it in cash, so you get a car note. That's bad debt, because literally as soon as you drive the car off the lot, the value of it is going down. So even if you sold it, you couldn't even pay it off. Now, good debt is things like real estate, is things like a mortgage, student loans to an extent, and business loans also to an extent. So for mortgage, you use a mortgage to buy a home, basically, and property values are always, not always, but most of the time going up. Over the decades, they're going up. So that is gonna pay for itself, especially if you're buying a property and renting it out. It's literally paying for itself. I honestly, all of these categories, I'll probably make a separate video about them, but this is just an overview video. Things like student loans, you're paying student loans so that you can get an education, so that you can get a higher earning job, and that higher earning job will be able to pay down those loans. Then a business, if the business obviously succeeds, the returns from the business will be paying off those loans. So that's another category of your finances. That category is liabilities. Now I'm going to be talking about investments, which is your assets, and it's very important in your personal finance to understand your assets minus your liabilities, which is your net worth. So investments, this is the most important category when it comes to your personal finance, because this is how you're going to have money for your future, and this is how your net worth is going to grow. When you hear investments, you probably think like the stock market, but there's multiple different kinds of investments. The stock market is one type of investment, and that's called an equity investment. Equity is cash, money, basically. Stock market is an equity investment. If you have mutual funds, or if you work for like a hedge fund company, those are all equity investments. There's also fixed investments, which are basically any money that you're lending to the government that they're gonna pay you back. So fixed investments tend to be bond. Bond is a loan that you pay to someone else that you're guaranteed to get back. It's a loan basically, so you're on the other end of the loan. So you can either pay these to the government and they'll definitely give you your money back, or you can pay these to corporations and they're supposed to give you your money back. There's also commodities, so things like oil, gold, silver, diamonds. Like if you're investing in these things, invest in things that generally increase in value over time. So like gold. Gold tends to either have the same value or it goes up in value over time. And then there's property investments, which is basically real estate investing. So you buy properties to rent out or to flip to sell to other people. Basically, you buy properties to make money off of them. Now I'm going to talk about retirement, because retirement kind of falls under the investment category. But when you're dealing with personal finances, one of the first things you should be thinking about, and one of the first things that you should budget out for, is your retirement, to make sure that you're going to be good when you stop working, whatever age that is, 35, 40, 60, 70, 80, I don't care. As long as when you stop working, you're good to go. That's the whole point of retirement planning. So the three main ways that people fund their retirement are through 401ks, IRAs, and pensions. A 401k and a pension plan both come from your job, but the pension is paid by your employer and the 401k is funded by you. So if you're working, I don't know how many older people are watching this, but I know I didn't really understand this when I first started like getting my paycheck. When you're like writing filling out the form for how you're gonna get paid, there's a section there that asks you if you want to contribute to a 401k plan, right? The problem a lot of young people have when they're filling out this form is that they don't understand what a 401k plan is, so they opt out. Because when you're contributing to a 401k, it's taking money out of the paycheck, right? So you're not getting as much money for the time that you work. So we think, okay, why are they stealing their money? I want as much money for all the time that I work. but it's better to elect for the 401k plan, because when you elect for that, they're going to go and invest the money for you. So it's not just sitting there, it's actually being invested so that it can grow over time. And then I know a lot of companies, they match whatever you do for your 401k. So I think it's the amount that you put in for your 401k, your employer matches that for the 401k, or they match it for the pension, or I think the pension is a separate thing. I don't know. Okay, and then IRA. So IRA is an individual retirement account. I think that's what it stands for. But basically it's a retirement account outside of work that you can manage yourself, right? And then for both 401k and IRA, there's Roth and traditional. So traditional is basically that you put the money in before you pay taxes, but when you take the money out in your retirement, it's going to be taxed. For Roth, you put the money in after you pay taxes, so that when you take the money out, it's not going to be taxed. Now, I know for Roth IRAs, there's a limit of $6,000 a year, and you can only contribute to a Roth IRA up until you make a certain amount of income. But for young people that weren't making that much money, it's really good to have a Roth IRA, because it can go in after taxes, and then when you take it out, when it's like grown, you don't gotta pay no taxes on that. All right, so the last two things I'm going to talk about are insurance and estate planning. I said earlier that you don't really need to worry about these like right now, unless you're married and you have a family. But you don't really need to worry about these right now if you're really young. But if you're already married, like I said, you should start thinking about these things. So insurance, as we all know, there's health insurance, car insurance, and life insurance. Those are the three main ones. There's also, homeowners insurance, renters insurance. Basically, insurance is compensation for if a bad event happens. Now, the reason why it's very important to include insurance in your personal finances is for risk management. The most important ones are life and health insurance. Life insurance, if you have dependents, so that if you do pass away, like, you gotta accept that you're gonna die sometime. It could be tomorrow, it could be in 30 years, but you're gonna die. So when you die, are the people that are dependent on you financially going to be able to take care of themselves? If they're not, then you need to get a life insurance plan. There's two types. There's term life and then whole life. So term life is you're covered for a certain period of time. So let's just say 20 years. If you die within the 20 years, then you get your dependents get the money. But if you don't die in that 20 years, the plan is null and void and you have to get another plan. Whole life is you're covered for your entire life, no matter what age, no matter how many years from when you first got the plan. Health insurance, like we all know, is just in case. It's mainly in case if you have to go to the hospital, because as we all know, in America, hospital expenses are crazily expensive. So health insurance helps to mitigate those costs, so you're not having to pay like $100,000 because you accidentally broke your leg. And it also helps if you need to get like prescription drugs and things like that, because those are things that you need for your life, but you don't want to be paying the full price for them. Honestly, I wonder how many of us actually know how much these things cost because we have insurance covering it for us. But that's a very important thing to get, because you don't know, like, literally anything could happen and you need to go to the hospital or you need to get a prescription drug and you just won't have the money to pay for it. So it's very important to have health insurance. You're required to have car insurance by the law. You're required to have third-party car insurance, which means that if you got in an accident and you were the cause of the accident, the insurance would pay for the other person. But there's also insurance that covers you and your car as well. Now, when you've reached a certain net worth, you won't need insurance anymore because your assets are large enough to cover all of those expenses. So when you reach a certain net worth and you know what all your expenses are and all the possible things that could happen, and you know all your assets can cover that, and you still have assets left over, you're good to go. You don't need insurance. But we're not there yet, so get insurance. The last thing I want to talk about is estate planning. So estate planning is basically how you're going to pass your money on to people that you care about. Basically, it's wills and trusts. So wills become active after you die. So after you die, you go to a lawyer, probate, pay all those bills to sort everything out. And then trusts, they can be active either after you die or they can become active while you're alive. It's a lot less costs when it comes to trust, because if I have this correctly, you can pass things on without having to pay like probate and without having to pay taxes and all that. Basically, the state isn't really involved when you have a trust, but the state is heavily involved when you have a will. But kind of like insurance, estate planning is just so that people that you care about get what you want them to receive when you pass on. So let's say you have like 20 different properties, right? But obviously when you die, they're not going to die with you, so you got to give them to somebody. Let's say you have like maybe not 20, let's say you have 5 different properties and you want each of your kids to have one of the properties. You can either write that in a will, or I'm pretty sure you can set up a trust for properties, or you can set up a trust for them so that it automatically transfers to them after you pass. Same thing with money or any assets that you have in investments. It's just an easy way to transfer anything that you own to your loved ones after you're gone. All right, I know that was a lot, but I'm here to teach you that, because if somebody's not here to explain it to you, you'll just be going through life not knowing that there are things that you need to worry about when it comes to your finances. And also, we all know that finances are a big part of our life. Like, a good portion of Americans have student loan debt, are drowning in student loan debt and are living from paycheck to paycheck. And we're not taught finances. So that's why I'm here to explain these categories to you. If you guys want more specifics of any of the different categories that I explained, or any of the different like specifics that I gave in those categories, just go ahead and drop that in the comments below and I'll make a video on it, because I know this is a lot. It is a lot. It's very important that if you can afford it, you should get a financial planner to actually help you sit down and actually go through your financial situation and help you to make a plan for it. But let me just go over the different categories that I mentioned again. So there's goals, income, your budget, bills, debt, investments, insurance, retirement, and estate planning. So write those down. If you want to go ahead and do research on them. If you want me to make videos on them, I will definitely be making videos on them, because I know it is a lot. But that's all I have for you guys this video. Like I said, if you want to see me do any other videos, go ahead and comment down below. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with any and everybody, because this is information that we are not taught, and you're just gonna if somebody's not telling you, you're going to struggle in life to figure these things out. So please share with any and everybody. And like I always say, remember to ask why. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.